So, you're a digital audiophile, but you yearn for the kind of textured experience that vinyl lovers rave so much about. Or you're a vinyl lover at heart, but you want audio without clicks, ticks, end-of-side distortion, but with a sound, not just vanilla plain. You need the Fiio K13 R2R DAC. Take note, R2R, also called a ladder DAC. Unlike other reviewers who just waffle on and on about what they think they hear, I'll play you audio examples direct from the K13's XLR line outputs, with wave downloads for you to compare in the comfort of your own home. But first, the unboxing. Just a small point, I'm going to concentrate here on what R2R is and what it can do for you, using the Fiio K13 R2R as my example R2R DAC. You can get all the functions and specs from the Fiio website, link in the description, and subjective reviews from other reviewers, although I will have a final comment on what I think of this DAC. So, what is this R2R business? I can't understand why those other reviewers, who I won't name, but I will note that they are, at least some of them, for whatever reason, but I don't care, much more popular than me. Anyway, R2R. Digital to analog conversion is a game of two halves. Either what is these days bog standard Delta Sigma, or retro futuristic R2R. This is how things stand at the moment. Most DACs use Delta Sigma conversion. I think it's fair to say that Delta Sigma is the state of the art. Best bang for the least bucks. Well, I say that, but for anything audiophile, you can pay as many bucks as you like. But R2R harks back to the earlier days of digital audio, the 1980s to put a time frame on it, when digital audio was new for most of us, harsh and difficult to listen to for long periods, as some might and did say at the time. But now it's R2R that's attracting attention. It might even be the future of audiophile DACs, because, as I'll comment in a moment, it has texture, as does vinyl. I'll put it like this. Delta Sigma is extremely clever, developed by extremely clever people, and as far as I can confirm, there's nothing not to like. But is it possible for any normal person to understand how it works? Classing myself as normal for the purpose of this video, I'd say no. It works and works well, but no one outside of the world of boffindom really knows how. An R2R ladder DAC, though, it's completely understandable. I'm going to try and tell you in 30 words. My best shot. A network of resistors in series and parallel. The highest value bit adds the highest voltage to the output, the lowest value bit the tiniest addition, the rest of the bits in proportion. OK, 33 words. Ladder DAC, well, check the caption. But what's this R2R business? Easy enough. The resistors all have value R or 2R. See, I said that normal people could understand this. Don't worry, you're going to hear audio soon. Or skip forward to the demonstrations. Or don't skip forward if you'd like to hear my take on why vinyl-loving audiophiles really should take a look at R2R. It's about authenticity. What's authentic about vinyl is that from the late 1940s all the way to the 1980s and beyond, recorded music was meant to be heard on vinyl. Sounding good on vinyl was all that mattered, in both music and sound. So it's a school of thought that modern music was consciously or unconsciously created, arranged and produced to sound good on vinyl. Obviously digital audio such as compact disc has better technical specifications, but sounding good on vinyl was the gold standard and still is, to a significant extent through tradition. So vinyl has this authenticity that digital audio can only try to replicate. It's a school of thought, remember. I didn't invent this, but I'm not the only person to think this way. So how can digital audio achieve some kind of authenticity? Through getting back to the digits, or back to the bits, if you like. One of the common criticisms of digital audio is that it chops up the original analog signal into stair steps, which it does. In diagram form, here's a stair-stepped sine wave. At a much higher resolution than the diagram, CD standard audio has 65,536 distinct and discrete levels. There are no in-betweens. Likewise for the sampling intervals, 44.1, 48, 96, whatever, thousand per second. Nothing in between. Digital audio is truly sliced and diced. Now, here's the point that people will die on their own side of the hill on. Some will say that this slicing and dicing is irretrievable, and the audio will always sound stair-stepped. Others, boffins in particular, will tell us that a 44.1 kHz sampling rate is sufficient to perfectly reconstruct any audio signal up to 20 kHz, with a margin for safety. I'm sure my commenters will want to weigh in on this. Vinyl is authentic to the spirit of music, at least up to the 1980s or so. Moving forward in time, the R2R DAC is authentic to the spirit of digital audio. This is my point. Those stair steps of the digital audio signal, they go through the resistor ladder in an entirely understandable way to create, or should I say recreate, the analog audio signal. Rough, raw, but authentic to the ones and zeros of the recording. You're listening to the surface noise, clicks, ticks, and end-of-side distortion that vinyl lovers feel gives them texture, but in digital form. Texture. A world without texture is a world without a living, breathing soul. Soon, I said. Audio demonstrations. Or skip to the chapter. But there's more to know first. NOS and OS. Non-oversampling and oversampling. What I've described of R2R so far doesn't go all the way. The raw output of the resistor ladder contains the sampling frequency and a whole load of other mush above 20 kHz, and you absolutely don't want that. So it needs a filter, an analog filter. This must have a steep slope and cut out everything above half the sampling frequency. Since a total analog brick wall filter isn't possible, it needs to start up in the high frequency range. 20 kHz would be nice, but in practice it's going to have to start filtering below that. So, due to the filter, you might lose some high frequency extension. That's a price you'll have to pay. This is NOS, or non-oversampling mode. At the same time, the filter will reconstruct the analog waveform without the stair steps. Commenters, do you believe this? Alternatively, you can have oversampling which fills in the stair steps to an extent before the resistor ladder. Then on the output side, the analog filter will be higher up the frequency band, gentler and out of harm's way, and it will smooth out whatever stair steps that remain to perfection. OS equals oversampling. Here's what I think is a visualization, not an actual plot, from Fiio's website. It's a visualization of what I'm guessing is a very low frequency, just a few hertz, in around 5-bit resolution. The scale is too blurry for me to make out, and I can't find a higher resolution version of this image. Anyway, you can see the stair steps in NOS mode and the much smoother curve in OS. Don't forget that the filter will smooth them out anyway. So you have a choice, NOS or OS. And of course the Fiio K13 R2R has both. NOS for rough, raw but authentic digital audio, OS for a more refined feel. Reminiscent of Delta Sigma perhaps, but you'll still feel you're listening in almost the authentic way. So I'm going to play you some audio in both NOS and OS modes. I have 3 short clips that I recorded in Abbey Road Studio 3. Vocal, acoustic guitar and drums. These are the raw recordings. No processing, no effects. You'll hear each source in turn, NOS then OS twice. There's a link in the description to wave versions. Let's go!
Breathe softly, don't worry. I've heard all of these words before. It's just another rewind. I can tell you every line you're gonna say. Breathe softly, don't worry. I've heard all of these words before. It's just another rewind. I can tell you every line you're gonna say. Breathe softly, don't worry. I've heard all of these words before. It's just another rewind. I can tell you every line you're gonna say. Breathe softly, don't worry. I've heard all of these words before. It's just another rewind. I can tell you every line you're gonna say.
So, what did you hear? Well, if you're as old as me, you probably didn't hear much of a difference. I've listened long and hard and I'm struggling. But younger or more acute ears will hear differences in the high-end frequency response and possibly also in the handling of the transients, not just the drums, but the lip noises in the vocal and plectrum scrapes in the guitar. In NOS mode, hey, you might even hear some stair steps, or at least imagine that you do. Download the waves and listen hard. Bear in mind that there's an additional stage of analog to digital conversion simply to make this demonstration possible, and your own DAC will have a degree of influence. What I really would like is for commenters to tell us all what you heard, and maybe also tell us your preferences, NOS or OS, R2R or Delta Sigma. Hopefully there'll be as much value or more in the comments as in my video. Finally, do I like it? Absolutely. The Fiio K13 R2R is a beautiful, very solid piece of kit. It has all the features I would need from a DAC/headphone amp, including all the connections and plenty of headphone power. Get commenting! R2R or Delta Sigma? Authenticity in vinyl? Authenticity in digital audio? NOS or OS? See you soon.
He really does need to get a stronger pair of reading glasses.